Reporting from Notre Dame, reporting live in Sun Life Stadium, reporting from Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, reporting from New Orleans with the women's Final Four.
New this morning, Notre Dame cornerback Kavari Russell is reacting on social media after a disciplinary hearing apparently didn't go the way he wanted on Wednesday afternoon on campus. Russell is one of those 5 Indy players currently sitting out until a committee decides if the players violated the university's honor code, and if so, what consequences they will face. Yesterday, Russell sent out a message on Instagram venting his frustrations after that hearing. The post has since been deleted, but he said this: "The school is becoming ridiculous. Describe details of all assignments thoroughly, so they couldn't say I didn't do it. And they still said a decision won't come until all 5 of us are done." Well, he then added he was told a decision on the status of the players might come sometime next week.
According to Jack Swarbrick tonight, the athletic director, he tells us they don't know how many people were involved in this online hoax, but according to him, he says Manti Te'o knew nothing about it. And today we watched the response along with Notre Dame student Jeff Liptak.
This girl who I committed myself to died on September 12th. Now I get a phone call on December 6th saying that she's alive, and then I'm going to be put on national TV 2 days later, and they ask me about the same question. What would you do?
And just kind of what's your reaction to seeing that?
Well, to seeing that, I think, the answer he gave, it certainly, I think it's one where he's maybe trying to cover himself.
Well, former quarterback Everett Golson is currently suspended from the university. Last year, fans were praising Golson for the win over Pitt. Now this year, they're talking about his recent interview with Sports Illustrated, where he claims cheating is why he's not here with his former teammates tonight. Starting quarterback Everett Golson is no longer enrolled at the university. News breaks a Saturday night in May that Golson was no longer enrolled at the school that he led to the national championship nearly 5 months earlier. And the following day, Golson releases a written statement saying he was suspended for the fall 2013 term due to poor academic judgment. It wasn't until 5 months after his suspension that Golson told Sports Illustrated what really happened.
Basically, I had poor judgment on the test.
Tonight, Notre Dame is celebrating its Final Four win. ABC 57's Emily Pritchard was inside their locker room right after they beat Maryland. She continues our live team coverage from the Bridgestone Arena. Emily, this has to feel pretty good after they lost to UConn last year in the Final Four.
Oh yes, no question about it. I think head coach Muffet McGraw said it best tonight. She said they are so happy to be going to the championship game and they are on a mission. But tonight they did take a little bit of time to let this win sink in their 37-0 season so far. And take a look. I was there this evening as they came out of the arena after flying by Maryland 87-61. Now McGraw was first out with a high five, of course, to some standing by, and then came out the Lucky 13, as they have nicknamed themselves, with a few jumps and some pretty big smiles, of course, celebrating that Final Four win. Now, a big part of walking out with that W tonight was senior Kayla McBride. She had 19 points at the half and then topped off the night with a final 28.
I credit my teammates for finding me the ball, but, I was in a flow. In Final Four, as a senior, I was just trying to leave it on the floor. I was making open shots. I was feeling the crowd, just feeling the environment. It was definitely something I'll remember.
Wow, she got off to a great start offensively. I thought she was key to kind of calm everybody down. And then we were able to do the job on the boards.
And of course, another big factor tonight was the rebounding. McGraw said this evening in the locker room that this was the best defensive game her team has played all year. And of course, it couldn't have come at a better time. The Fighting Irish are headed to the national championship game on Tuesday. And join me in just a few hours on ABC 57 News at 5 a.m. We will have much more reaction from inside the Fighting Irish locker room. Reporting live from the Bridgestone Arena with the women's Final Four, Emily Pritchard, ABC 57 News.
ABC 57's Emily Pritchard has followed his career at Notre Dame since his very first snap. And Emily, he has put on quite a show with his comeback.
Oh, definitely. No question about that, Brian. Now, I did interview Everett quite a few times during that national championship year. He just seems more settled now and in control of what he can do with the football. Now, there's no question, you really can't predict what happens in college football, but With Golson's recent showcases, it really looks like you can put your faith behind Notre Dame.
It's going to be a touchdown.
You can't always call it, but wide receiver Will Fuller would probably tell you sometimes it just sticks. Notre Dame and Everett Golson's union appears to still be on a honeymoon. Not only is their record perfect at 3-0 this season, so is their performance in the red zone, scoring on all 14 trips inside the 20-yard line.
And I think we really just want to score. We want to be aggressive. I mean, I think that's our mentality just for 2014 season.
Golson attributes profiting in 10 red zone touchdowns to his maturity.
Honestly, I think it came with my development as well. I think the coaches trust me a little bit more now, so we're able to do a little bit more in the red zone.
For a guy that led his 2012 team to 10 straight wins and a trip to the national championship, he's felt triumph, but also adversity, sitting out the 2013 season for academic dishonesty. Now he has a second chance and he's taking full advantage of it, helping his team to climb back into the top 10 rankings.
It's been great. I think we still have a long way to go, but I'm definitely happy for where we are right now.
And some would say so far, so good. Golson hasn't made a turnover against Rice, Michigan, or Purdue.
As you know, knock on wood, he's gone on a long streak here, not turning over the football.
And you might think tying your career high 3 touchdowns against foe Michigan and leading the team in the red zone would be stressful. Not for Golson.
Not at all. I see it as an opportunity. The opportunity just to showcase, what we really have, as far as offense and just defense too. Just really trying to take advantage of the opportunity.
And during the bye week, Golson's name being mentioned in the Heisman conversation, it has dropped some. Now, he told us he really can't ignore that happening and all that chatter happening nationally in the media, but he said his focus is what happens on the football field, which is what he can control. He said the rest will just follow. You can see right now people still starting to come into MetLife Stadium. Some players just passing us there, getting ready for the big game tonight. We're going to stick here and kick off that coverage. Reporting live from MetLife Stadium with the Notre Dame-Syracuse wrap-up, Emily Pritchard, ABC 57 News.
Now, Emily, these 4 players weren't there, right?
Correct. I do have a copy, though, of the 2014 Fighting Irish roster. The 4 in question, they are on it. That's Tavares Daniel, Kavari Russell, Kendall Moore, and Ishaq Williams. They are all still members of the team. They just cannot practice or compete with the Fighting Irish until this investigation is complete. Head coach Brian Kelly told me today that the 4 will likely not be in team meetings, but they can eat with their teammates and even spend time with them at the athletic complex. And the head coach shared with us that when he found out about this investigation, he was shocked and disappointed.
I'm a parent, and this is an extended family for me. So it hurt.
It's been just 2 days since head coach Brian Kelly says he learned he'd have holes to fill on this field. The players in question were brought into the investigation yesterday. Kelly said he doesn't have a lot of facts on the investigation, but he and his players lining Notre Dame Stadium are now regrouping.
There are no shortcuts in what we do. You can't win taking shortcuts. So our attention to detail is what we talk about all the time.
While his guys cut routes, Kelly stressed Saturday the reason he came to coach here is Notre Dame's core values, and there's no shortcut there.
Along the way, I've lost a starting quarterback and some key players. But I came here because I wanted to be associated with a university that had those standards.
In Kelly's 5 years at the university, he's had to police an array of issues, including players' arrest and Everett Golson's dismissal for cheating. Today, he told me now is just not the time to look back at how everything was handled.
This isn't the time to have a debate on what my, leadership or lack thereof is. My focus is on my football team and getting this team ready.
As everyone waits for a decision from university officials, the work on the field goes on as the countdown to Rice looms.
I expect our group to be, affected by it, but they'll they'll be stronger too.
And as for the practice that happened on this field behind me today, Coach Kelly called it a good practice. He says this is a true example of his statement and motto that we all have heard before, the next man in. He said other players are just going to have to step up. And when it comes to this investigation, he wants to remind everyone this is still an ongoing investigation and that no one has been found guilty of anything. Reporting live from Notre Dame Stadium, Emily Pritchard, ABC 57 News.
And new here this morning, there is a new face on the coaching staff at Wayne University, but she's a familiar face for Fighting Irish basketball fans. Ariel Breaker was just named a graduate assistant coach for the women's program. Breaker started in 70 games where she played for Notre Dame, helping the team find success in the postseason until they fell to UConn in the national championship game just last season. She will help her new team during practices and with day-to-day operations.